Awesome. Well, we are on tonight with my dear friend John Gower, Director of Entertainment, PCI most recently. Is that still the title? And tell us a little bit about,
No,
because I met you years ago at a different casino. So
yeah.
what is all this about?
So I've retired, but I've been retained as a consultant, and I take care of pretty much all of their entertainment for the state of Alabama. We are now venturing into other states with the entertainment, and primarily, what I do is national acts, so concert stuff, and so as a consultant, I steer them where I think they are, where their interest is best, and always try to buy entertainment that is in line with what their players would want to see.
Right.
And when I say players want to see, a lot of times the players just go to see, well, what is this? Or who is this? I never heard of them. Let's go see what it is. And so they get to see these concerts. They're exposed to something that they haven't been exposed to before. Sometimes they love it. Sometimes maybe they don't.
Yeah.
But
What do you think is important about that? Because I talk a lot with my students about the fact that it's an experience and you you listen to different styles of music, and what's the importance of seeing something that you don't necessarily know what it is?
well, it's going to be the genre kind of dictates. The company I worked for had a target audience of a 50-some-year-old woman.
Okay.
And a 50-some-year-old woman has already pretty much paid her mortgage and she has put her kids through school.
Right.
So she has expendable income and she doesn't want to sit at home all the time.
Right.
So to me, I think, okay, this 50-year-old woman, when she was in her prime, what was she doing? What was she listening to? Well, and I took 50 and subtracted and went down to an 18-year-old and decided that was in the 70s. So what did we listen to in the 70s in the South? And what you listen to in the South, you either listen to what was considered pop or you listen to country.
Right.
Now, country, and especially the older country, I can't tell you how anybody would dance to it other than they have to take their shoes and socks off. And now I'll probably offend somebody by saying this, but it wasn't danceable.
Right.
So what was danceable was, for instance, a huge hit was Huey Lewis and the News.
Right.
They had hit after hit after hit. And a
Yes.
girl that was in college at that time, they knew all of Huey Lewis's songs. So there's a good target.
Yes, we
Of course,
did.
Huey has lost his hearing totally
Yeah.
and can no longer perform, but it was groups from that era that at the time when I first came on board with PCI Gaming, that's kind of what we tried to target. But they couldn't get too heavy. And
Right.
I say heavy rocky. It couldn't
Okay.
be too rocky because that wasn't rock music really didn't, you can't dance to it. Not the classic rock stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the stuff they called classic rock from the 60s, maybe. But
Right.
starting in the 70s, it got different.
Yeah. Not so
And
much.
it was a terrible decade for music also, in my humble opinion.
So what kinds of acts do you book then? You say like national acts. So this who are you booking? What artists are you booking for this 50 something year old demographic woman in the South?
Yeah, and when I started, which was about 17 years ago with this company in Alabama,
Yeah.
it has now changed.
Ah,
So when you take 2024 and make call that 50 and back it off to 18 years old, then
right.
we're in the 2000s.
Right.
So, but what we've found that's very successful in the casinos is country music and what I call R&B
Okay.
There are not very many R&B people still around. To name a couple, Smokey Robinson
Right.
was
Yeah.
a prime person. Even though he was a black man, he was on all the white radio stations, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
And so we found a lot of success with that, and we found a lot of success with not new country because we pretty much can't afford it. The prices of those people have just gone insane.
Wow.
But so we take a little older country. Trying to think of who. Vince Gill, we've had several times. Of course, a lot of people might know him now through the Eagles.
For the Eagles.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but Vince Gill, I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a big blank here, and I hate that.
It always happens when, what's your favorite song?
Yeah,
And I can never remember.
yeah. So anyway, some of the older country stuff. One I can think of one. Leanne Rhymes did very well. Of course, she's just a monstrous talent.
Yes.
Um,
Incredible singer.
Also, we've done some classic rock. Leonard Skinner's always done well. ZZ Top has always done really well.
Yeah.
And actually, right now, Skinner and ZZ Top are out together
Oh, wow.
on a tour. Yeah, and they're charging amazing amounts of money, but nobody. I don't know who can afford it, but the big arenas can.
Right.
We can.
Right.
So, anyway, that's kind of we kind of go for what we know has worked in the past, and each casino has a group of people that get together and discuss, well, what would be good stuff to have, who would be good artists. So I ask them every year to try to give me a list of 10 artists. If they're going to do 6 shows, I would like a list of 10 artists in the order that they prefer them, and then we go after that.
Okay.
They also have to give me dates, and so it makes it a little bit complicated at times to try to put an artist in a slot and then find out, well, the next artist had that available, but they don't have anything else available. So
right.
That's basically the way we approach it.
Do you ever book up and coming artists?
Oh, yes.
And because a lot of my people that will be listening to this, a lot of my audience will be younger artists, and they want to know how to come up. What should they shoot for? Like, what do you need to see in a newer artist before you would consider booking them? Do they need a lot of social media numbers? Do they need big followings? What types of things do you look at that says, yeah, this artist doesn't necessarily have an established 25-year career, but I think they'll do well. What's the criteria?
Yeah, you're looking at a couple different levels there. I've had some really good luck with up and coming national acts that I saw maybe on a TV show. I saw Bruno Mars before he ever hit anything, and I went, my God, this guy's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And of course, I could never talk anybody into him because, well, who is he?
Right.
Well, he's this guy you're going to know, I promise you. But don't take my word for it, and they did. There have been several artists that I would see on TV, or we would get hints about them having up and coming things, and we'd go after them. And kind of like a lot of the shows, people may not know who they are, but you have to also rely on good marketing, and which means that the purchaser or the entity that's putting on the show, has got to really do their advertising well. And I could argue all night long about advertising because I've seen what I believe was the best, and I've seen what I believe was definitely not.
What are some things that make really great marketing and advertising? How do you do that?
Well, it does depend on who you are marketing to.
Okay.
In Montgomery, Alabama, I have always argued that when we bring in an R&B act, we need to be using newspaper. And I've been shot down over and over that.
Okay.
because the locals there and my better half was in newspaper.
Yeah.
And she knows who does and who doesn't read the newspaper. And so that they've stopped that. And with social media, I guess that has turned into a strong way of advertising for them. I don't know how much advertising they do outside of their guests, but they constantly email their players. So
Okay.
their players always know what they're doing.
And by players, so some of my people may not know what that
Oh,
is. They're like the members of the casino, the
the
clientele,
guests.
the guests, yes, that come
Yeah,
to the casino, and that those are the people that you're marketing specifically to.
that's correct.
Yeah.
So, and you know, in a way, different artists have to be marketed to different groups. But in the case of some of the older R&B groups, they're crossovers. They can be marketed to everybody
Right.
because that their music was really important in the older dance music
Yes.
when the Caucasian groups were trying to figure out how to make beats that people could get up and move
Dance
to.
too. Yeah.
You know, Motown already had that.
Right. Right. So does it help if, again, I'm thinking from the perspective of a young artist that's coming up, does it help if their marketing is solid so that you can take a look at them and go, oh, I know who they are, and they don't show up at your venue and play and be something completely different? Like, have you
Yeah,
had that? Do you look at, like, how much do you check into the newer artists that again, these
I
are just not the stable 20, 30, 40-year career people, but
yeah I generally rely on agencies. What I get out of an agency is a an act that has made their way and done well, been successful. They have a good track record and they have a good product. That's the main thing. So when video became easy for us all, that became something that I relied on a lot. Even when I was buying from the agencies, they'd say, you know, this band's good. Well, send me a video. And I'd look at the video, and I can shoot holes through a video all day long. I spent 30 years on stage myself, and so I'm going to jump over to a subject here that I think might be something you would want to ask. What would they need to do in order for me to take a look at somebody if there wasn't an agent there?
yes,
Well,
yes.
I had people here in Alabama because they had not been in the live entertainment business long at all. People saying, "Hey, what do I need to do to get play at your casino?" And I would say, "Well, I'm going to send you an email, and this is, you know, this is what I want to see. I want to see a video of you performing at a job, and I want to see the camera pan across the whole stage. I want to see what everybody on stage looks like, and I want to see reaction from the audience. But as far as a long video, I don't need that. I need a couple of minutes of different genres that you perform.
Yeah.
And I need all of that video in each of those. And so send me a 5-minute video and I'll be able to size your band up in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would be able to say, okay, you got a really good perspective product here, but you need to do this, or you need to do this, and you need to do this.
Yeah.
Make sure that guy over there dresses a little nicer, which is one of the things that used to be in the casinos. No jeans were allowed, period.
Right. I remember that.
And I used to get a lot of pushback when I was at some casinos in Mississippi from the Nashville guys that I would bring down to work in the lounges and well, that's part of my persona. Well, I'm sorry, it's not part of what the casino wishes to be producing. So,
Right.
but that's some of the stuff that I look at, and I look at their song list.
Okay.
What are they concentrating on?
Mm-hmm.
Are they concentrating on what I'm looking for in a band, which pretty much on in a lounge that has dancing, you want dance music,
Right.
and it needs to be done pretty darn well.
Yeah.
And you really want it to sound like the original, but there are bands that do it differently from the original, but you know that song. And
Right.
so that's acceptable a lot of times. But if you don't do it well and you try to do it differently, go
Yeah.
back to the house.
Yeah, it has to be recognizable, right?
Yeah.
So what about photographs? What kind of pictures do you ask for?
Very good. I get photographs, always got photographs. There would be this big a mountainside, and 30 feet up on the right side would be one of the people, and 20 feet away from them. And what I want to see is I want to see head and shoulders. Now, if you got five people, yeah, you can get somewhat of body shots together, but you want to see what those people look like. Not
Yeah.
I don't want to look at a mountainside. I want to look at the musicians. And I tell you, I've seen that out of some of the greatest bands in the world. Somebody gets these crazy ideas, says, "Oh, this scenery's wonderful. Let's bank on it." Well, guess what? I ain't falling for it.
And along with that, how important is a band's resume or bio? Do you read those things?
Of course, yeah. It's very important. I always want to look at the background of the people, and I suppose sometimes you'll see a massively talented person that's come into a band that doesn't have a lot of history.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to kind of be careful with that because you don't know exactly how they will fare
Right.
through a week of torment. So that if they don't produce what the people want to hear, it can be a rough gig.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We we've all done that.
Yes,
And
we have.
but I do always look at geez, this band's got four guys that, man, they've been in the business for 15 years, and I know the bands they've been in, and the world is not gigantic when it comes to music. It
Right.
really is.
Right.
The better bands really, they're kind of categorized, I guess, but they all there'll be, I don't know, 20 maybe nationally or national performing acts that are not concert acts, but they're
Right.
really, really good acts that everybody wants to see. And, people that have been in those acts, that the act that they're currently in is going to be solid.
Right. Right. Yeah, because they have that history. They have
Yep.
that work history. What about so I kind of want to go out of we're sort of up here. I want to move back in your history because you
Sure.
mentioned it. I mean, you played for 30 years before you got into this. So will you tell us a little bit about how you got into music and what you did there? And then why the leap from music to becoming a buyer? And how
I
did
don't know if
that
it was
happen?
a leap or a fall or a stumble. My father was a music professor. He was a very famous clinician on all the woodwinds. And so there were five of us, and we all had to play an instrument. And it was chosen for me to become a violinist, which I did that for years. And like I was saying earlier, I saw the Beatles and went, "Oh, wow, I can do that." So at
Yeah.
that point, I became a drummer, and I broke my dad's heart. But he stood beside me when, for drums, and really just because of the environment I was in, I learned how to listen,
Mm.
and that was the key to my becoming the musician I was because I listened, and everybody thought, well, man, that guy's a drummer, and he listens. He doesn't just pound on stuff. I
Right.
pounded when I had to, but listening was very important, and it it got me in a lot of places I never would have gotten, without that quality or trait.
Right.
And I did that for many, many years. And at a point, I was married and wanted to move to Nashville, but money was so tight. And she looked at me and said, "Nope." So I stayed with with where I was, and I did that until I was, oh geez, close to 50. At which point I got a chance to get into the production business, which was mixing, which I did in a little bit in junior high and high school.
Yeah.
I did some mixing, and I decided, yeah, I think I'd like to try my hand at it. Well, one thing led to another, and because I was doing production, I got hired. Actually, I got subbed out to a casino by a production company I was working for.
Oh,
And after the casino saw my work, they hired me.
wow.
Then at the same time, they lost their entertainment manager. And I said, well, hey, I'll take that job. And they said, what makes you able to have a job like that? And I said, man, I've been in this business all my life.
Yeah.
And they gave me a shot at it. And, so here I am. I was doing that in I started in the mid 90s.
Wow.
And here it is. I think it's 2024.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So just one thing led to another. I had some doors open for me that were just amazing.
Yeah.
And I didn't stumble
Yeah.
too badly. So I was accepted.
Well, and I think you said something too that, you had been doing it and your level of proficiency in everything, like your work ethic, and, you were really good at this stuff. And when the casino saw you, they recognized, everything that you were doing. And I think that's really important, to have the talent to back up what you say you can do.
Right. And another thing, as we were just talking about, do I look at resumes? Yeah. My resume is what got me where every job change I've had
Yeah.
is because of my resume.
Yeah.
And actually moving here to Alabama, or over there to Alabama, that was done by the people that I had worked for prior at a different set of casinos.
Wow.
And they knew of me and my abilities and my availability,
Right.
and hired me.
Wow.
So it's all, you got to be careful and keep a clean resume.
Yeah.
And work hard.
Yeah.
Always move forward, never backward.
Yes. Yeah. That's good advice. That's really good advice. Always, I wonder too what your thoughts are on networking, because like you said, it's a really small industry. I think looking at it from a young artist, they must think, oh my gosh, this is so big. I'll never, like, how do you do this? But once you get in, you find out it's pretty small. What do you think about networking and building relationships, and how do you do that? How important is that? What would you recommend? What would you tell young people?
I would tell them to get their name out everywhere they can and get a good product out everywhere they can.
Yeah.
If they question their product, go back and woodshed.
Yeah.
And above all, record yourself, video yourself.
Yeah.
Look at yourself and be critical.
Yeah.
Don't be critical to the point that you drive yourself away from it, but be critical to the point that you say, I've got to do this better than this. How can I do it?
Yeah.
Go get other people's opinions.
Yeah.
Even the most far-fetched person that's in the crowd can possibly give you something that you've never thought of.
Right.
So always take suggestions to the heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to be willing to look at yourself honestly, like you said.
Yeah.
You have to you have to be able to say, yeah, I could probably do that better. And then, like you said, then the question is how? How do I improve this? And that, back to your point, then that always keeps you moving forward, not backwards.
Yeah, exactly. And a piece of advice, JMO from the Allman Brothers is a very close friend of a friend, very close friend of mine. And he asked JMO one time, so JMO, what do you think about my product? And JMO said, man, don't never play with nobody what ain't better than you. And I
What?
got my biggest education through that statement when
Yeah.
I lived in the capital of Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was selling gear for a living. I'm not doing well at it, but I was selling gear for a living and playing as much as I could play, but I wouldn't play with anybody but the jazzers.
Yeah.
And that did me nothing, but it forwarded my playing so much. I learned to listen even more,
Yeah.
and the better people you can play with, and don't think that it's the effort. If they see that you're making effort
Yeah.
and you have the want, you have the drive, there you go.
Yeah.
And then also find somebody like you. That's what you do, is you teach them how to do what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of people out there with lots of great information. But to your point too, when we were talking about this, I think before we started recording, but you started playing with people that were older than you as well and better than you. And that's what I did when I was a kid too, is like I was so young in bands that everybody was older than me. Now it's
Yeah,
the reverse, but I think that teaches you a lot. Yeah, play with people that are better than you and
if
learn.
if you can. If
Yeah.
not, find people that are on your level, and do that.
Yeah.
I remember, because of my father being an orchestra conductor, he would put me in the pit orchestra and give me 5 books to read out of, being a percussionist.
Right.
And man, I couldn't read for poop, but I'd have to be able to follow it, and oh, cymbal crash, and hit a
Yeah.
hit a crash, but that did nothing. It was embarrassing at times, but it did nothing but further me in my musicianship.
Yeah.
So any chance you get to
Yeah.
do something different or that's challenging, do it. Just
Yeah.
do it.
What are some big mistakes that you've seen artists or bands make over the years that you would say, here's a few things you might not want to do? Do you have any stories that come to mind?
Oh, sure. Yeah, dementia's not a good one for the stage.
Wow. Okay.
I've seen a couple of cases of that, but what I'm going to get to with that is over talking on stage. It becomes a waste of everybody's time when they say, he sure has been talking a lot. We're not getting the amount of music that, a little introduction, to a song is one thing, but, stopping and having a conversation really isn't the thing to do. But you also can't offend any of your audience. So it's a tough thing, but always be kind to them, regardless of what they may be throwing at you.
Yeah.
Always dress nice. One thing that we had an agent tell us at one point: always dress yourself apart from the audience.
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of times I see these guys, Steve Lukather, Toto's guitar player, the stuff he wears on stage. It's like, man, where could he have gone to find that?
Yeah.
And it's just incredible stuff.
Yeah.
As a young kid trying to be hip, you would never wear stuff like that. But to be the musician and
Yeah.
stand out, that's what you need to wear.
Yeah.
Always look good. Try to be healthy. For the singers, I know you guys have got to eat right. The rest of us really don't have to, but no, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. But the health is very, very important,
Yeah.
because it is tough. It is tough out there,
Yeah.
and you don't have, when you're in Waukegan, Wisconsin, and you come down with the flu, you don't have any backing. There's no family there, so you
Yeah.
can't come down with the flu. You got to take really good care of yourself.
Yeah.
And to say that, then don't partake of things that can get your health down.
Right.
and that especially alcohol.
Yeah.
It's terrible for you.
Yeah.
Um,
It's toxin.
yeah, and I have seen more of my friends go down because of that. It's just terrible. But you know, your whole presentation, keep a smile on your face, even though it's really hard to do sometimes. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a you know, a great thing too is we talk a lot about the attitude. Like you have to keep that positivity not only with yourself but with your audience and with you know the people that you're working with behind the scenes. Like nobody wants to work with a grump, right?
Yeah,
So that's important. It's important to be friendly and be kind to everybody.
and especially on stage
Yeah.
when you know when there's banter, there might be a little bit of banter going back and forth, or when you're singing, you know, one person's singing the lead. And you're looking at them and smiling real big, and then you take over the next part of the song or whatever. But you know, looking like you're enjoying yourself. You have to do that. You have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good when when it's obvious that people are starting to snipe at each other on stage. That's never a
Yeah.
pleasant experience for the audience, nor the people on stage.
Yep. And if anybody has a camera, they're going to catch that, and that'll follow you from then on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, gosh, this has been thank you so much for doing this. If you had two or three things that you would tell your younger self or that you would give advice to artists, what do you think that would be?
Number one, don't never play with nobody what ain't better than you.
I'm gonna have to try and transcribe that statement and put
Yeah.
it on my
Yeah.
wall.
Take lessons. Practice above all.
Yeah.
And practice, do good practice. Do
Yeah.
practice that moves you forward. Don't keep playing the same thing.
Yep.
One of the things my dad taught me about any instrument is you have to be able to play anything at any volume and at any speed.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So I've
great.
always, when I came across something challenging, I would slow it way down.
Yeah.
And as what drummers do, we don't have scales, but we have what's called rudiments,
Yeah.
and you start them very slowly, and you gradually pick up speed to the good players get really fast,
Yeah.
then gradually they slow it back down to us, and you have to be able to do that with everything and
Yeah.
at all volumes. So if it's a high note and the only way you can get it is scream it, that's probably not the thing to be doing.
Yeah. No. No.
And two, I'll ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you ever, in recording, do you ever stretch out as far as you can be stretched?
Vocally?
Yeah.
All the time. I try to, and then I try and find like, I mean, I don't know if I say that in recording. Recording in my house, yes. Recording myself learning something, yes.
No, in the studio.
But in a recording studio, I already have an idea pretty much of where the good boundaries are. But sometimes I'll stretch more than I would normally
Do you ever, or do you make a practice hitting the highest notes you can imagine you could even possibly hit?
all the
Or
time.
you do?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, you know, working range is a big thing for singers, right? So not only as high as I can go, but as low as I can go, you know, and those things change. And again, I try to do them in different, like I would do them in head voice, I would do them in mixed voice, I would do them in belt, I would do them in sort of a scream, I will do them at different volumes. Again, like you said, so I have control over whatever it is that I'm going to try. And I do that on all the different vowel sounds as well, because some vowel sounds are more difficult than others. So not only do you have to do the notes, but you have to, and then you have to worry about like words and is there a diphthong on there? And am I closing my throat at the wrong time? And, you know, yeah, I practice all that stuff. Yes, still. People ask me all the time, like, you still practice? I'm like, of course I still practice.
Oh yeah, till the day you die.
Absolutely. I want to be doing new things. And the interesting thing with singing is that as you age, just like our bodies changes, happen, your voice changes. So I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at it as new and different things that I get to use and do now in different ways. So it's a
Yeah,
continual learning, I think, if you're a singer, because your body is just a continual, like, okay, this is cool and new and different, and I've got a new tone on this thing now. Well, that's cool. So I don't know. Is that answering your question? Did I just go off
yeah,
on a complete tangent?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, whereas maybe I'm just a little too careful, but if I came across a phrase that, because I'm not using my physical voice for a high note, say, if I came across a phrase that I had to play and there were two different ways to stick it, which means
Yeah.
maybe I lean toward the right hand or I lean toward the left hand.
Right.
And if I lean toward the left hand, the next phrase could present a bit of a problem. I
Right.
go with sure thing.
Yeah.
I always go with the sure thing. And
Yeah.
that's in a recording studio.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to cost somebody some money because I goofed up and I had to come back and do a second take on it.
Yes.
So I
Well,
do it.
I was going to say, by the time I get to a recording studio, I've been here and recorded 25,000 options. And I pretty much know what I want to do. And so I'm pretty quick. That's a lead track. But if I'm doing like background harmonies, I will absolutely do that. I go the safe route. I'm going to hit it this way. I'm not going to try anything in the studio because I want to be fast and efficient and precise.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's some information that is as valuable as probably anything I've said all night.
No. Well, we can do that now too, because every singer should have a home studio and know how to run it.
Yeah.
Because we should be writing and creating demos and working these things out and seeing how you sound recorded, looking at your pitch, looking at all those things. That studio is just unforgiving, right? There's no hiding a bad note on a recorded thing.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think that's something that's changed in a really good way, for us to have. So, but I think about, I wanted to go back because you said have to be able to play things too loud, like loud or soft. You have to be able to play them either way. And that's something that I feel like should be addressed too, from your perspective, is what happens when a band is just too loud and they don't turn down and they don't hear.
Well, they seem to find a way to go away. No, but I have there's a set of rules, so to speak, which include a decibel level, which is the measurement of sound.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to adhere to that. Now there is, an exception that, if they exceed the levels that we feel are good for business, then we go to them and say, we need you to bring it down. If it happens a second time, well, then it's, of course, now in my position, I enter into a contract with a band leader. So he is the spokesman for the band. So if the drummer's too loud, but the band leader's a guitar player, I don't go to the drummer.
Right.
I go to the guitar player because he probably wants the job to come back again,
Mm-hmm.
and become a repetitious thing for him.
Right.
So they generally always will comply. If they just don't, and that same guy from Nashville with the blue jeans, that it was his persona, he and I had a run in with volume, and when I ask you to turn down, you have to turn down, and when you don't turn down, and you argue with me about it, and then you complain about the rules, well, it's time for you to find somebody else to work for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I can't say that I've ever, walked up and said, "You're fired. Get out of here."
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
If both parties have any sense at all, they both comply and they get through the thing. And if one decides the other is not what they're looking for, then so be it.
Right.
But keep it professional at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. This has just been amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. There's so much, I get to work with so many talented students, and I just think that your insights and your advice and your tips for them after a lifetime of being in this industry is invaluable. So thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. And if your kids have questions, I'm not going to offer my email address to everybody that's out there, but send me their questions. And if it pertains to anything that I could give you any idea on, I would be more than happy to.
I will ask them, and we will send you some questions. I'm sure they will have some. I have a lot of kids. Some of them want to be artists, and some of them have expressed that I have in school right now have expressed wanting to be venue owners and become bookers, and so I'm sure they might have some very specific questions for you. So
well, I'll say this: it's a tough business to get into, especially buying. Mm-hmm. There aren't a lot of us out there. In a casino, you got 5,000 people that work at the casino. There's only one guy that does what I do.
Right.
So that's a tough road, but I'm not sure what degrees you all offer, but there are schools that offer exactly a degree in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll promise you they don't have the time in on it that I have and have seen the things that I've seen.
Yeah.
So
well, I think also, really important to you and how you did this is you came up a musician. So you knew, like you said, you were in this your whole life and you knew music.
Yeah. And I know the mentality of the musician. And then through all these years of buying these shows with the big shots, I've learned the legal side of it, but I also know when I see that guy's having a bad day, we can tell. Most people can't tell, but we can tell. And if I've had the bigwigs at the casino have me go and tell an artist that he can't do such and such. And that is it's not something anybody should have to do, but I've had to do it before. And I've gotten out of it without, I haven't lost my scalp and I haven't taken any knuckles to the face.
Right.
So knowing how they react to stuff. And because we're special people as musicians.
Yeah.
We are not like Joe Blow that's out there drinking the beers.
Right.
We chose another way to I guess further ourselves. And it's through performing and so you got to be careful with the way you talk to musicians, and they need to be careful with the way they talk to the brass, so to speak.
Right.
And that's all of that is actually in contracts, that you cannot talk down to any of the employees. And then we ask that people don't talk down to the entertainment. But if you give them good enough entertainment, they're not going to talk down to them.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Wow. So much good information. I'm going to go back and make notes on all of this for me too. Thanks so much for doing this. This has just been a blast. And we'll put some questions together and we'll shoot you an email for sure.
And I hope that your students understand who and what they have teaching them. You are one in a million, girl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You really are.
I appreciate that.
Been down that road of hard knocks.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Rock, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you, and I will be in touch, and we will talk again.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jill.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.